Nation. It's James Maresca once again with a Rock Nation State of the Nation address. And this time I'm proud to report wonderful things about the 2013 Fleetwood Mac tour. Now, I had the pleasure of checking it out a few nights ago at Madison Square Garden, and boy, do they still delight, entertain, and just put on a killer show. Now, for those of you wondering who's in the band at this time, basically it's the Rumors lineup without Christine McVie. Simply put, she was convinced, per se, to join the reunion tour in the late 90s. Once that was done, she said, "I'm done with music," apparently sold her publishing, and hasn't looked back since. But the good news is, that means still in the band, Mick Fleetwood, John McVie, and of course, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. And as I just said, they put on an incredible show, going through all the hits you'd want to hear, as well as some obscurities, especially ones from the Tusk album, and even 2 new songs. So it had a great balance in the set list, everything you wanted to hear. They kicked open the show with a rockin', roarin', rippin' version of Secondhand News, and that definitely set the stage for the night. It must be said, in terms of the main upfront performances, Stevie Nicks was her typical gypsy-like mystical self, really had the crowd roaring with her renditions of songs like Sarah, Gypsy, Rhiannon. And then Lindsey Buckingham, I mean, if you haven't seen this guy perform, what are you doing? You should have. I mean, he's truly one of those unsung rock and roll heroes. The performances vocally and on the guitar were just off the hook. In particular, songs like I'm So Afraid. I mean, he sung the song with this intensity and this rockin' nature to it. I mean, intensity's still probably the best way to put it. But the way he sung it, followed by probably a 5-minute extended guitar outro, was just worth the price of admission alone. He had the whole venue, a sold-out Madison Square Garden, on its feet, roaring at the end of it. And that was just a good, nutshell description of what the whole night was. And it's always interesting, too, to see Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks on stage together, because, as I'm sure just about every Fleetwood Mac fan knows, there's such a complexity to their relationship, and God only knows what experiences they've had together, both good and bad. But considering they're singing all of these songs that they wrote about each other and not necessarily in the best of ways, it's always interesting to see the reactions and looks they give each other as they're singing these timeless but still somewhat relevant to each other lyrics. And so once again, I highly recommend you check out the tour if you get the chance. The good news is it just began about a week ago. So I know it's going to be going all around America till about late June. And for those in Europe, they're even going to be hitting Europe in the fall. So once again, it's the Fleetwood Mac 2013 tour. I highly, highly recommend checking it out. You will not be disappointed. You truly will feel like you're seeing a performance by legends. No frills, no BS performance, just true talent and incredibly written songs. And of course, you can go to fleetwoodmac.com for more information and your usual ticket outlets to actually purchase tickets. So now, since I have to give you a sampling of this, I got you salivating, I got you all excited about Fleetwood Mac, I'm going to give you a little taste of the tour, specifically the show I've seen. Now I'll admit, this audio is ripped from YouTube. I've tried to search for the best clip I could find, but needless to say, it's nothing that was formally released or nothing that was formally produced. But nonetheless, here is live from Madison Square Garden, April 8th, 2013. Here's Fleetwood Mac and a taste of them performing the classic, The Chain.
Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun rise. Still hear you say it, you will never break the chain.
Thank YouTube user Rodrigo James for posting his YouTube video. The audio you just heard came from that. And make sure you tune in for the next Rock Nation State of the Nation address. I'm going to discuss something that I really consider a big issue when it comes to rock concerts these days, and that's how much of a show you're seeing is really live, how much of it is actually being performed on stage, and how much of it is been pre-recorded before you got there, maybe even before the tour even started. And something that really gets me worked up, and I'm going to address that much more thoroughly on the next Rock Nation State of the Nation address.